Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, November the 30th, where I'm going to be at the Missouri Livestock Symposium in Kirksville, Missouri on Saturday. If you guys are in the area and you're out and about and the weather's not too bad, I sure hope that you can come by and visit with us and listen to a panel that I'm going to be speaking on with some really esteemed guys that I have thought a lot of for a long time, and I'm really excited to be on there with them and humbled to be there with them. But included on this panel I'm going to be speaking on cattle marketing is Tom Fry, who among other things is the current president of the Livestock Marketing Association. But you know, that may be one of the smaller titles that he's held. He's been in the auction business for a long time. Just a prince of a guy, a world-class auctioneer, and everything. Really a nice family, and I really think a lot of him, and he would be a wealth of knowledge. I have no business standing up there alongside him. Another good friend of mine, Dave Bryan, from Windsor, Missouri. He has done it all. I mean, from being the manager of Sioux City Stockyards back in the day when they were big, to being a fat cattle buyer, a feeder cattle order buyer, cowboy. He's done it all, and I love his wife Donna and him, and they've got a nice family and have been producers and just done it all too, and just really excited to get to spend some time with him. I haven't got to see him for a long time, and all this is going to happen, I think, 10 o'clock Saturday morning, a Missouri Livestock Symposium in Kirksville, Missouri. And if you guys can make that, I'd sure like to see as many of you as you can. But I tell you what, this board, it's just, I mean, thumbing its nose at the cattle producers, the cattle market, cash trade, everything. We started out the week just knowing we were going to have a big boom from last week's bullish cattle and feed report to come out in the middle of the week. Guys had plenty of time to digest it and everything, and really you know, jump on this market. We had a much higher fat cattle trade last week, come out this week with a dud, and it's just been a stinker all week long, and will not support cash trade at all, especially your feeder cattle board. I tell you what, and feeder cattle prices on the board have been going down, and cash has been going up. Your feeder cattle board nearby has lost $3.50 just this week on the board, and your cash trade is at least that much higher, and in some cases twice that much higher. So just going in separate directions makes no sense. Everybody just shaking their head. Come out Thursday morning and everybody's, what's up with the board? What, you know, why will it not lend any support? There's just more sellers than there are buyers. And every pen of cattle that you drive by, they're all hedged. They've got to be, the lending institutions force you to do that. Even if you're feeding your own cattle, even if you didn't know a dime on them, you still got to be hedged up because everybody else is too. And if you're out of step with everybody, you can't make it work. And there's just not enough guys on the long side to offset all that. And when you've got guys in Chicago and you've got fund managers speculating on that, they know where all the pressure's at, and they know how much easier it is for the board to go down than it is to go up. So why not jump on and ride it down a little bit more for a lot of them? But you look at the board on Thursday, December live cattle futures down just 17 cents at 116.60. February down 27 cents at 120.27. Now your feeder cattle, as hot as your calf and yearling markets have been all week long, your January feeder cattle down $1.72 at 145.97. March down $1.67, 143.67. Now that's your near-term board for fat cattle and feeders. But your real story on your board is your Outfront live cattle contracts. Your April sitting at 121.87, and people still trying to buy cattle that will finish in line with that April board. you know, they just keep buying them higher and higher and greener, and they just think, well, these cattle will gain 5 pounds a day. We can push them, make them weigh 15 something. If we can avoid the heavyweight penalties, maybe we can make these things work. The heck of it is, if they don't make it by that April board, June is 113.82. That's $8 difference between April and June. And we're just running out of time, and we're running out of cattle that will finish in line with that April board, and you're just going to have to get on some of these slower feeding calves and some of these fleshier backgrounded cattle that just won't make it. And really, for the industry, we need to back off these 1,1700 pounders anyway. You know, you're going to take it looks like they're going to stick to some of these penalties if they can get away with it, unless they really need the cattle. They're going to put the penalties on you, and it just makes that much more tonnage and makes it that much tougher. But you look at the fat cattle trade, we really haven't seen a lot. Through Wednesday, 11,800 head, mostly from 114 to 116, kind of heavy on the 16, weighted average as well into the 115s. On a dress basis, 183 to 185, almost everything in the northern plains. We have seen, and it's not a lot, but you don't see it very often. We have seen a couple deals. Pens in Kansas sell from 116 up to 116.75. That was on in the middle of the week, so not sure if we could still get that or not. But on Thursday, Iowa sold about 3,200 head, and Nebraska about 3,100 head. From 113 to 115, we did hear some 116 bids out there, but and those in the places they were being offered were still kind of being brushed away. So you would think at least 116, but we'd like to hold steady money at 117. If the board would happen to give a little spark on a Friday morning, maybe we could get that. Maybe we could get $1.18. You know, we know that the Packers need cattle. They still want to kill several cattle here next week, and then after that, we're going to get too close to Christmas to do any good. But your dress trade on Thursday, a little bit of 183 to 185. But let's hope for 118. Not settle for anything less than 117, and just see what happens. Your box beef cutout values. On Thursday afternoon, choice cuts 212.61, down 67 cents compared to the previous day. Selects 198.53, up 3 cents. Your slaughter right in line with same time a year ago, 476,000. Hard to compare to last week with Thanksgiving. Your dress steer weights for the week ending November 17th, back to 900 pounds even there. Look at your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on Cattle Market Central. Late on Thursday, 146.04, down 73 cents. Look at some of your sales. You know, the sales just weren't as good as they were earlier in the week. You know, even on Wednesday, and especially on Wednesday, we were having some just outlandish quotes. OKC West had a heck of a quote there on a big long string of light 7-weight feeder calves, hard feeder calves. Dodge City, Kansas had a heck of a quote on some big yearlings weighing in the upper 8s. We just didn't see that on Thursday, hardly anywhere. And especially out west in western Nebraska and in western South Dakota, you know, they've got a blizzard coming, and guys are just not wanting the cattle to buy new cattle in that condition, even though they may have really wanted them a few days earlier. Now you get back over on the eastern side, Mitchell, South Dakota had a heck of a sale, and they had some big, heavy feeders there, backgrounded cattle, but kind of done right with some gold left to them, and guys have a hope to make that April board on them. They had a really good sale. But in the southern plains in Kansas, Pratt and Salina just got by. They were lower. Nothing like the sales they had on Wednesday. It's just what a difference a day makes, and what a sick feeling it was when the board opened on Thursday and everything down again. But you look at Pratt, around 5,000 head. There again, I can't read the market reporter's trends there. Got a different trend for every 100-pound weight break. But it looked to me like, for the most part, even your yearling feeders, what few they had there, but your feeder calves and even your lighter weight calves were all just a little bit lower. I saw this one quote on Cattle Market Central: 81 head of 733-pound steers bring 155. That's just the market. Farmers and Ranchers Livestock, Salina, Kansas, 4,000 head there, steady to $5 lower, pretty much everything. A quote there on some bigger steers: 90 head of 875-pound steers in Salina bring 148.85. I talked about Mitchell Livestock earlier. 5,900 head at Mitchell Livestock Auction. Calves were steady to $5 higher there. They didn't have a comparison on all the long strings of yearling cattle they had this week, but a lot of heavy yearlings. Now, they're backgrounded cattle, but I talked to a guy that was there, and he said they weren't screwed up, they weren't runt, they left a little bit to them, they were backgrounded, but they weren't fat, they weren't too fleshy, and they weren't burned up. But 3 loads, 974-pound big feeding steers there bring $160. Okay, and then some bigger cattle yet. 113 head of black baldy, heavy feeder steers, of course backgrounded, but weighed 1066 at 149.35. That's more than a lot of 5 and 6 weight calves will bring a lot of places. If you figure that by the head, that's $1,600. You better hope that those cattle don't stub their toe and they do make that April board, because if they wait till June and you take them to 1,500 pounds, that would be $1,700. So that'd be $100 for your troubles, not counting freight and expenses. But that's your feeder flash for Friday.